As far as I'm concerned, you can go take a big jump into that ocean. And while you're there, give the sharks my regards.
Johnny, are people paying enough attention to what's going on around them? Do they, Johnny? No, I don't think they do. And what's been going on at Twitter recently is a prime example of that. In what way? Yeah, Twitter. Elon, God bless him, Elon, he's released all these bloody tweets that show indiscriminate bloody collusion between government agencies and a private company to suppress and censor information about a US presidential election.
They have been the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, that should have people bloody marching in the streets. It's the biggest bloody story, I reckon, since Watergate. As big as Watergate.
I think what we did during COVID could usher in our version of a social credit system.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, that's highly probable.
And that it will be accepted by many people because, again, that
they won't even
yearning
notice.
for safety.
They won't notice. Yeah. You can't believe how much people don't know these things. When I went to the UK, I talked to some people from the House of Lords. This is within the last 6 months. The most astute of the people sitting in the House of Lords had only become aware of the woke movement in the last 18 months. Oh yes, you just can't believe how much this is not on people's radar. Not someone like you can't believe that at all because it's on your radar all the time. That's not, you live in a world that's on the cutting edge of this sort of thing. It's like, people have no idea. It's like, well,
I reckon here in Australia I could go and ask people in the street, anybody, about this bloody stuff, and they wouldn't have a bloody clue.
They can't take it. The Twitter files, the shitlibs on Twitter cannot take it. The establishment Democrats cannot take it. And so they're doing two things. They're trying to pretend it's not a big deal, that we found out that Twitter's in bed with the intelligence community, the government, political parties, to censor people and break their own rules and then lie about it. They're trying to pretend like that's not a big deal.
Doesn't matter whether it's in Australia or not, Johnny. Whatever happens in America filters down to everybody else. Don't you worry about that.
To our main focus tonight, our special investigation into the FBI and Department of Homeland Security's attack on our democracy, as we reveal for the first time on television the staggering level of collusion between big tech and the Washington establishment, the shadowy network of organizations set up by the security agencies to outsource government censorship, and the way that a state cybersecurity apparatus designed to protect America from foreign interference was turned into a domestic cyber attack by our government on Americans.
So, Johnny, what's causing this? What's the reason for this nonchalance?
Along with conditioning the thoughts and behaviors of the citizens, in Brave New World, the latest in technology is used by the ruling authorities to provide the population with non-stop distractions of the most fascinating nature. The purpose of this readily available entertainment was twofold. Firstly, to ensure that the citizens did not pay attention to political and social realities. And secondly, to promote docility and stupidity, and thus create a population that cared little for freedom. Is something similar happening today?
Yeah, well, if it was such a threat to the very foundation of our political system, you'd reckon you'd see a bit more of it on mainstream media. Yeah, people around the world should be up in arms about this. So you're saying, Johnny, if mainstream media took a bit more interest in broadcasting these bloody things, people would be more interested themselves? But because mainstream media, especially in the US and here in Australia, doesn't hardly give a second bloody thought, no one seems to care.
These Twitter reveals even more suppressive details. And the amazing part of all of this is as we watch the real unearthing of a scheme to defraud the American public of information relevant just prior to a presidential election, the Democrats are silent.
The call before the committee, the only concern I have is if a government agency was asking a private company to censor political language. If that is what happened, that's the problem. All the other stuff, look, politics and retribution, unfortunately go hand in hand in today's world. But censorship should not, and that's what the focus of the hearing should be.
Revolving door keeps spinning, these connections are still evident, and the idea that we are spoon-fed this stuff and don't question what's going into our mouth becomes increasingly ridiculous.
And of course, Johnny, we here at the Ask Johnny channel, we don't give a shit whether Donald Trump's in power or what. They were the days. It's not the point of who was in power, it's the point that the FBI, oh yeah, now you think about it, was deliberately suppressing statements and bloody comments from the President of the USA. Yeah, right, yeah. So it would influence what the FBI and CIA and all those bloody groups, who they wanted to be President of the United States. I mean, what the fucking hell's going on? There are millions of people out there, Johnny, who aren't even aware that this sort of shit is going on. So are we just bloody pissing in the wind? Is it really not that important? Or is it, what I really think it is, one of the biggest bloody stories ever? Jesus Christ. It reminds me of the UFO bloody bullshit earlier this year, Johnny, when the government actually came out and said that the UFOs, they don't know what UFOs are, and no one seemed to give a shit. Yeah, there is a lack of bloody worry about that. Yeah, it is a big bloody thing. So, Johnny, this year we've had UFOs, we've had this bloody, the biggest story in 40 years come out politically, and no one seems to give a rat's ass about it. Now, what does that tell you about modern society? But, Johnny, people are concerned about their own lives. They're not concerned about their impending doom. Come on.